So the Samsung S95B QD OLED has to be the most controversial TV that I know of, at least. And it quite literally is a very bipolar experience watching it. So I'm going to recap a few things, bring attention to some more issues that I had found. So if you look at my previous video where I listed off a bunch of the issues, I found some more. And then we're also going to talk about also how great it can be also. So it's a bit of both. The main takeaway is QD OLED is looking great. The technology is great. The TV is the most impressive and capable panel display that one can get right now. However, it's all but certain that the Sony A95K will take that in a few weeks when it releases. But before I break down everything, I got a quick word from a sponsor, and then we'll jump into some of the issues as well as the positives of the S95B. Let's take a moment to look at the Decala Arches Smart Ambient Clock. This clock has 9 different lighting modes, 16 million different colors, Bluetooth speaker, can connect to your phone or other smart device. Here you can see the app control that lets you set the alarm, colors, and more. Has wireless charging up to 15 watts, which does trigger fast wireless charging on my S22 even with the case on. You can snooze the alarm just by pressing down on it. It also has a weather display and sleep aid mode where it can play different sounds and you can customize the lights. By following the link in the description, if you are interested in purchasing the Arches alarm clock, you can use the code KEEPITClassy and receive 20% off of your order. The audio quality is actually quite good from it, and it gets plenty loud, so if you want to sync to your phone and play music or listen to a podcast in the background, it's perfectly capable of doing that. You flip it over, there's lots of controls underneath, and you see the speaker. Thanks for taking a moment to listen to this from Decala, and let's get back to the video. So one of the more known possible issues that we knew about before it released was because of the triangle pixel shape and how that can cause color fringing or chromatic aberration. And it was thought that in most scenes you won't notice it, and that's mostly true. However, even at normal seating distance, a scene like this, it was easily visible for me with that really bright sky in the background and darker objects, in this case their heads, being in front. You can see a little bit of like a magenta glow around the head and also the hood or whatever on the right. Most people probably won't notice it too much, but it does cause a bit of like a separation between the object and the background that is very artificial and weird looking. The other big area that the S95B suffers is not with low resolution content, but low bitrate content. Low bitrate content can be any resolution, even 4K. Watching The Walking Dead, I've noticed excessive aliasing on sharp objects, as well as a very bland smoothing that comes off just not good. Now, a lot of TVs struggle with low bitrate. That's normal, but this is not doing it any favors and kind of actually hurting it a bit. Sony's processing is the best when it comes to this, and LG kind of just gives it to you as it comes, whereas this looks like it's trying to do something with it, but just making it worse. Alright, so now I'm going to demonstrate one of the annoying bugs that is very reproducible, at least for me. If I am on a different device and I want to turn on, say, the PlayStation 5, I can turn it on by the controller, the TV switches to it, which is correct, that's what I want it to do. But now if I switch back, so in this case to my receiver, connected to the eARC port to get to my NVIDIA Shield, it will do that, but then the problem is it now thinks the PlayStation 5 is an input that doesn't exist or something to that effect. Because if I try to go back to the PlayStation 5, it just goes to this. Like it's trying to find a source and there isn't one. So it like lost which input the PS5 is connected to. And I can show here on the controller that it's still on, it's still running, and the TV just sits there, can't find it. So now, even if I click the home button and go to all of the apps, and I can go over to the PlayStation 5 here, and same thing. Also, quick note, if you want to arrange those apps, you can do that. But anyway, so you can see it still can't find the PlayStation 5. What happened is it now thinks the PlayStation 5 is the Nvidia Shield. Previously, I had this happen with my Nintendo Switch, so it's not just the PS5. It's whenever I'm switching from one to another, it's just getting them confused. And now another annoying bug is that the TV will decide at any point that it doesn't like that you changed a certain setting, and it will change it back to normal. And it doesn't reset the whole picture mode, it just picks random settings and changes them. So like the contrast, I always put the contrast at 40, and then the color space I always have it auto. But yet sometimes I can go in the settings and it will just pick certain settings that it wants to reset. And I'm certainly not the only one who has had that happen. Alright, so another thing is I always clean my TVs with distilled water and a very soft microfiber towel, and if there's something really smudgy, the distilled water with a tiny drop of Dawn. So doing that to clean off little smudges from my cat's nose or the dog jumping up there, whatever. Normally, no problems. However, on this TV, I have noticed that using that same process for cleaning, it leaves these little spots that just won't come off, and in normal viewing, I haven't seen them, but when light hits them, they do kind of like sparkle there a little bit. Alright, now before finishing up with the negative aspects, let's talk about something that is really great with the S95B, and that is gaming. This, for most people, is going to be the best gaming TV ever made, hands down. It has about the same input lag as LG OLEDs, which is really fast. Instant pixel response because it's OLED, so just very smooth, very fast, and it's very bright, very high APL. The colors are very pure and bright, and gaming really showcases what this TV does. Now, game mode cannot be made to be perfectly accurate. However, I don't think I've ever seen anyone who cares about that in gaming. It can get decent enough if that does matter, but regardless, when it comes to just how it performs for gaming and how bright it gets and the color brightness and depth, it's untouched. And then in SDR, it can get bright enough even with black frame insertion to still be brighter than LG OLEDs in SDR without the black frame insertion turned on. It also gives you the logo dimming control like LG does, so that you can turn it off and not have to worry about the games dimming down, unlike Sony, who forces that and doesn't give you an option to turn it off. So whether you're on the Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, the PC, doesn't matter. Just pretty much all gaming is really fantastic on the S95B. Being able to reach over 1,000 nits in smaller highlights, having a higher APL or average picture level than other OLEDs, and being able to push colors brighter without any loss of color, it really just elevates your gaming experience. And then there's 4 full bandwidth 48 gigabit per second HDMI 2.1 ports with full VRR, ALLM, 120 Hz 4K support, FreeSync Premium. It really just checks about every box that you want for gaming. Now, back to some of the downsides. Shadow detail. It's either going to be crushed. It's crushed out of the box, and then when you address it by changing some settings, you can either have a little bit of crushing still or make it a little overly bright. Like, there's not really an easy way to get it perfect, or as close as you can with a Sony or LG. Another thing, I haven't really seen this too much, but some other people have mentioned it. In long, very dark scenes, a sort of dimming can be triggered. The LG OLEDs are affected by this unless you go into the service menu and turn off the TPC and GSR settings. So on here, no one yet has found any kind of setting like that you can do in the service menu. You just gotta live with it. So if you watch something that's very dark and it's a pretty long scene, then it can cause it to think that it's paused, and then it will start to dim itself down a little bit. Then aside from that, the more confusing thing, and something that's basically not possible for me to show on the camera, it has to do with the motion, and this, it's not ghosting, or it shouldn't be ghosting, but it looks like ghosting. And I say that because OLEDs have instant pixel response. However, there are scenes where it looks kind of like ghost trails that you would see on an LCD. Not in gaming, just in TV movie content. And it would probably be hard for most people to notice it at all. I think only like motion purists who don't use any smoothing and are very picky about their motion would see it. Stop the FOMO had said that he has the new Spears and Munzel demo that's in beta, and there's a pattern of sorts on there to test for ghosting, and has seen in dark areas how the S95B does show a little bit of it. And again, it shouldn't, because it's an OLED and it has instant pixel response or near instant. But that's not to say that Samsung couldn't be doing something on purpose. And pure speculation, no idea, but maybe they know how OLED has the sample and hold, stutter, and maybe they thought they could add a little bit of artificial smearing to offset that or something. I don't know, but I have seen it. It's pretty rare, but I have seen it, and Stop the FOMO has seen it on a demo. Others may see it as well, but most people probably won't. And if you've watched my previous videos on like the Samsung LCDs, the Q190A, Q190B, I've talked about how Samsung has this little tiny bit of forced motion smoothing on those, that even when you have all the motion stuff turned off, there's just this little bit that certain content, certain scenes is noticeable by me and some others. This TV, for the most part, I haven't seen it too much, but Sammy Prescott has it, and he noticed something off about the motion in a few scenes that sounds very similar to that. So maybe they still are, but it's less so than on the LCDs. So I think just overall, the motion is going to be fine for most people. However, motion purists who don't use any soap opera effect or smoothing may from time to time see some issues. Alright, now lastly, the biggest bug and issue that doesn't just affect this, but affects all the current Samsungs, at least for the past few years, is that the auto color gamut is broken, and the TV is also just switching gamuts to whatever it wants, whenever, whether it's changing the actual setting or not. So it can be in the correct color gamut for one bit of content, and then it changes, and then it will switch the color gamut to be undersaturated or something that it shouldn't be in, and then you have to change the picture mode and cycle through them and come back, and then it should be right. And a lot of people aren't even going to notice when this happens, but the ones that do, it's very annoying. So with all that said, the pure image quality is going to be fantastic for most people, and the color volume still outweighs anything else. So in highly graded HDR content, it's going to be much better than just about anything else out there. If you're someone who's looked at a Samsung in the last however many years and you like it, you are going to love this TV. That said, there's a lot of quality of life issues and bugs that hopefully Samsung fixes, but I don't have high hopes for them to fix everything. So that's going to be it. I hope this helps you out. And if you like the video, I would appreciate if you could hit like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment and let me know what you think. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for coming by and watching. Have a good one.